In the capital, at Tianxiang Tower, Xue Mei sat before her dressing table, touching up her makeup in the mirror. She was the tower's reigning courtesan, a beauty of the highest order. Those who had seen her said she was softer than water, gentler than a cloud, and more pleasing to the eye than the finest jade. A beauty like that did not receive just anyone. If you had no connection with her, you would not even get a glimpse of her face. Those who could approach Xue Mei were either rich or noble. Even the reigning emperor was counted among her close friends. And yet, Xue Mei had met her match in Ling Feng. Who was Ling Feng? A small-time rogue in the capital. He was a master of eating, drinking, gambling, dancing, and music, but he knew nothing of poetry, calligraphy, painting, or martial arts. What he did have was a devastatingly handsome face, so delicate it seemed it might bruise at a touch. That was his ticket to living off others. Many men, upon seeing him, had to admit, a face like that could not be earned in 3 lifetimes.
Behind closed doors, some whispered that Ling Feng was Xue Mei's son. But Xue Mei looked barely 20. How could she possibly have a son that old? Xue Mei did indeed dote on him, spoiling him like a privileged young heir. One day, Ling Feng's cricket, Cha defeated the purple-robed, golden-winged general owned by the prime minister's second son, becoming the new cricket king. So overjoyed was Ling Feng that he threw a victory banquet at Tianxiang Tower that lasted 3 days and 3 nights. Cha had been found at Foguang Temple. 2 years earlier, Ling Feng had gone to the temple to escape the summer heat. By the wall of the abbot's courtyard, he heard a cricket chirp a sound unlike any other, carrying an indescribable spirit. He was smitten on the spot. For the sake of that cricket, he had stayed at Foguang Temple for 2 years, donating over 10,000 taels of incense money. A few days ago, his young servant Liu Shun returned carrying a brocade box, grinning and winking.
"Master, the treasure has arrived."
Liu Shun was Ling Feng's trusted right-hand man, sharp as a tack. Catching fish and birds, raising crickets, and training spiders, there was nothing he couldn't do. He could go 3 days and 3 nights without sleep just to catch a litter of foxes. But this cricket had nearly driven him mad. It had lived at Foguang Temple for over a decade, listening to Zen teachings every day, and had developed a Buddhist nature. Liu Shun tried everything, luring it with its favorite food, but it paid no attention. Flooding its hideout with water and smoking it out. But it refused to emerge. Then he tried chanting Buddhist hymns and burning incense, yet it still would not show itself. More than once, Liu Shun despaired so deeply that he wished he were dead. Finally, he began reciting the West Chamberto, the cricket. As he told the story, the cricket came out. Liu Shun grabbed it in one swift motion. Ling Feng opened the brocade box. Inside was a golden cage the size of a bowl, containing a cricket the size of a summer cicada. Its entire body was glossy black, except for its eyes, which were a golden red.
"It's that big. Will it be agile enough to fight?"
"It's a ruthless one, my great golden thorn. And Black Arhud both fell to it. They didn't last 10 rounds.
The Great Golden Thorn was a cricket Ling Feng had bought for 500 taels. It had won many major battles and was later given to Liu Shun as a reward. Intrigued, Ling Feng carried the golden cage to his treasure room. The little creature unleashed its fury. Before long, it had taken down every top fighter in the room. Not just beaten them, dismantled them. Limbs were scattered all over the bottom of the cage. Everywhere you looked, it was brutally fierce.
Arm! King of Kings!
Seeing that the cricket was the size of a summer cicada, and noting that the word for cicada, chan, sounds identical to the word for Zen, chan, and since it had come from Foguang Temple, he named it Chaner. Chaner did not disappoint Ling Feng. It fought across the 4 seas and found no equal. Strange to say, but true to its Buddhist origins, when it was not fighting, it behaved like a monk showing no temper at all. Apart from eating and sleeping, its only pleasure was listening to Buddhist hymns. Whenever it heard sutras, its chirping became especially melodious. If it went a few days without hearing them, it grew restless and irritable, even losing its appetite. Ling Feng ended up moving into the temple. Women were out of the question. At first, he was not used to it, but as time passed, he came to love the quiet purity of the temple. One day, Ling Feng was chatting idly with the abbot. The old abbot studied Channer in its cage, then suddenly reached out and opened the cage door. Ling Feng was horrified. He tried to stop him, but it was too late. Channer leaped once, leaped again, and after 3 or 4 hops, vanished into the grass of the courtyard. Ling Feng rushed after it but came back empty-handed, his eyes red with fury. He grabbed the abbot's sleeve and roared.
You thieving bald donkey! I've supported you all this time. And you dare set free what I hold dearest. If I don't get it back today, I'll burn this den of thieves to the ground.
The other monks, not knowing what had happened and fearing for the abbot's safety, rushed forward to restrain Ling Feng, some grabbing his arms, others his legs. Ling Feng could not move a muscle. All he could do was shout curses at the top of his lungs. When he had finished cursing, his anger had drained, but his fury had not subsided. The abbot spoke calmly.
Amitabha, layman, you have a karmic connection with our Buddha, which is why, despite your family's wealth and status, you often come to stay at this humble temple. That creature also has a connection with me. When I first entered this monastery as a child, I often heard her sing, "All living beings are born free." She asked me to set her free. It was only a small favor, and I could not refuse. Ling Feng was stunned into silence. The abbot dismissed the other monks and poured Ling Feng another cup of tea. Ling Feng sat in silence for a long while. Then he spoke.
Channer has lived in your temple for many years. She must have attained a Buddhist nature, otherwise she would not be so extraordinary. You say she begged you to set her free. I believe you. Any creature with a Buddhist nature does not want to be kept in a cage. But if you had simply told me she wanted freedom, I would have given it to her myself. Why did you have to make me so frantic? I have raised her all this time. She is the apple of my eye. If she had spoken to me, I would have done as she wished, taken her across the 4 seas, found the finest meadow, and let her live a free life.
Amitabha. It seems this old monk did not think things through thoroughly.
In the end, Ling Feng decided that the best place for Channer was to remain at Foguang Temple. There, she had the environment she was accustomed to and loved. There, she could listen to Zen teachings and contemplate the Buddha every day. What better place could there be? He sighed and looked toward the patch of grass. That glossy black cricket was nowhere to be seen. Not even a shadow of her remained.